We have a kind of last thing to do here, right? And that is get this thing to collide, and then get this thing to update, and then we're kind of we're back to where were before. And so let's just do that real quickly. That's kind of the final step here. So step 4 is the constructor. Step 5 is any getters and setters. Step 5 is any getters and setters and public methods. Here we're only going to really use one public method, right? If you remember, our public method was update, and what update did was it called drawBall, which was just another function in here. And this function, this method could be private because it's only being called from in here. We're also going to have a few more methods. We'll have one that's void update position. Remember, position is updated based on velocity. Okay. And remember our update rules. Our new value is going to be our current value plus something. Okay. So it's always based on what's currently inside the box of that variable. We'll update that to get the new value of the variable. And then we will update velocity, right? All right. And we update velocity by having the ball hit the when it collides with something. And in our case, we're having it collide with the edge of the wall. This is going to be important to remember. So let's. I wonder if I can do this. Will this work? Yeah. All right. So let's remember our drawing here, so that we don't forget it. And remember, we did x equals 0. I'm just gonna make them different colors. Y equals 0, right? And we're always gonna do plus x in this direction, and x is gonna answer the question how. You know what? No. X equals so much nicer. We're gonna do plus x in this direction, right? And x is answering the question how far to the right, okay? And we're going to do plus y in. Get it even closer. There we go. We're gonna do plus y in this direction, and y is going to answer the question how far down we are. And when we ask how far to the right and how far down, we're always doing it from the origin, which is here in the top left. In any graphics applications, most any graphics applications, that'll be the case. Okay. And if we come down here, we're going to be at, what was it? You probably remember. It's going to be y equals height, right? Because we're at the end of this thing, so whatever the height is, and x equals 0, right? And if we come over here, we're going to be at x equals width, and y equals 0. And if we come down here, we're going to get x equals width, y equals height, right? X equals width, and y equals height. And remember that, and he hits his funny bone. Remember that, don't do that. We're going to have our collisions happen in 4 different situations, right? Left, right, up, and down. We'll just worry about this one, okay? And then we'll program the rest. So this is our x center, right? And we have a width, okay? So we have our center x and our center x. When our center x position plus width over 2, right? Ellipse width over 2, okay, is greater than, so it's gone past the wall, this little edge has gone past the wall, so it's greater than the width of the whole thing. Let me write this legibly. X position, right? Ellipse width over 2. I know that's not like any better, but it's slightly better. All right, is greater than x width, right? It's gone past this point, so it's greater than x width. Well, we want to turn around, okay? And I know that's hard to see, but we've seen that. We've done this a few times before. So let's bring it back over here real quickly, and let's actually program this thing up. So we're going to update position. Remember how we update position. X position equals, and I know we've done this before, but it's always nice to recap, right? X velocity, and Y position equals Y position plus Y velocity, okay? And that updates our position. And then we update our velocity, okay, by checking if we have a collision in both the X and Y direction. So if X position, right, plus ellipse width over 2 is greater than the width of the thing, right, or it's on the other side, right? So it's either on one side or it's on the other side. And if it's on the other side, we're going to say X position, well, minus, right? Because it's more to the left. You start at the position and you go to the left point of the ball. And if that intersects with 0, we're going to bounce. Okay, so X position minus ellipse with, and if you make a mistake on this, it's not a big deal. You'll know pretty immediately, right? This thing won't hit the wall and you'll be like, okay, well, I did something wrong, right? It's less than 0. Now, some of you might be doing less than or equal to. It does not matter, okay? It's a 1 pixel difference, okay? Now, sometimes that does matter, but here, visually, it will not matter. So just think about which way you want to do it. And so then we're going to make x velocity. So our new x velocity will be our current x velocity times -1. We've updated velocity. And we can cheat a little bit and do the same thing with y this way. Except it's not width any, it's going to be height, right? Because it's up and down in y. Y is going to collide up here, so we've got to worry about the ellipse height, right? So just in case you were like, wait, why is he suddenly doing height? I don't remember. It's been too long. If I'm here, right, and this is my y, okay, and this is my height, well then this is ellipse height over 2. So this is center y plus ellipse height over 2 gets you up there. Because center y tells us how far down we are, right? And if I minus ellipse height over 2, then I'll know if I'm near 0 or not. I'll compare it to 0 and see if I've intersected with 0. And if that's the case, I better bounce, right? So that makes sense. Ellipse height over 2, so y position plus ellipse height over 2 is greater than height, right, of the whole thing. Or x position, y position minus ellipse height over 2 is less than 0, right? And if that's the case, we want to flip the y velocity. All right, so that works, right? So we're updating position, we're updating velocity, and we're calling draw ball, update position, update velocity. And the order of these things do not matter. Exercise for you, what's going to happen if I flip the order of these things, right? So do it whatever way seems intuitive to you, okay? All right, I might do it this way because I like the idea of right when it intersects the velocity gets flipped. I don't know. It really doesn't matter. I don't know why I'm suddenly like flipping it around. I'm just having fun now. Okay, instead of having fun, I should run this thing, right? And we should see our balls bounce around, except for we have a mistake. Return type is missing. So public void update, and void draw ball, void update position, void update velocity. Okay. And oh right, that's not gonna move because I'm not invoking these functions, right? Those functions are mini programs. They're never gonna run unless they're invoked. Instead of doing draw ball now, we're gonna do update, and update will have these things bounce around. So that is basically our, except for the array part, which we'll review later, that is basically our thing. Now, there is an issue here where I didn't do background, and I have them going -1 and 1 and 1 and 1, so they're just going to be going down the diagonal, which is never a good thing, especially since these things are symmetrical. So we could do something like that. And people get angry when I don't do background. I like the designs, but people don't think it's that cool, so we'll go with the background. And now we have our balls bouncing around, all right? So that should be a healthy review of how we got the balls to bounce. And really, the review is of classes, right? So if you understand the ball class, you're going to understand classes. If you understand classes, when we get to the data structure stuff, which is going to be really soon, it's going to feel so much easier to you, okay? Was there anything else I wanted to talk about here? No, I think that's it. I think that's you understand classes now. We can try to do a little project, and the project that I promised was we were gonna do Pong. So a few people were saying let's do Pong. Let's do Pong. All right, so I'll see you in the next video. We'll do Pong.